Hey guys, hope you're having a good day. So today we're going to take a look at the Echo CS-310 that was traded in against the Poulan Wood Shark that we did in a video a while ago. And you might remember this from the Triage video where we kind of took a generalized look at this as it was traded in to see if the guy kind of gave us an accurate description or not. So what we're able to determine from that video is it does start and run. It just does not idle. So the limiter caps are still in the carb, so we'll probably have to pull those out so we can tune it a little bit better. Outside of that, he told us there's a brand new bar and chain on it, which is true. It is brand new, and the primer bulb is busted. So we'll have to replace that. So outside of that, I think we'll start by draining the gas. We'll pop the cover off of there and see what else this thing might need. Okay, draining this gas quick. Okay. So we did have mix in there, that's good. Blue, maybe green. Show you guys the tank. And we still got lines connected, which is good. So we might not have to get into lines on this one. But that looks pretty clean. Okay, top cover. So I don't know how well this is showing on camera, but we kind of got this white speckled paint overspray across the entire saw. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that off with maybe a Scotch-Brite and some water or something, but kind of looks like this wasn't cared for the greatest before we got it. But I did hit it with some compressed air before we started to kind of get the bulk sawdust off of it. So let's keep going. So it kind of looks like we just need to take these clips off. Doesn't look like this lid screws down or anything. There we go. Oh, we got what looks like a new air filter. I don't know if that's supposed to click down or not. So, purge bulb lines are back in behind that choke lever there. So I don't know if we'll be able to pop that out, disconnect the lines, and pop a new one on there real easy. Prefer not to get into the lines if I don't have to on this one. But there you can see our limiter caps too. And I got a plan for those. I'll get to that in a little bit. So let's pull this air filter off and see what we got underneath. Yeah, that's new. So it looks like they did the air filter too, trying to get this thing going. Oh. They pinched the fuel line underneath the air filter, right there. So I wonder if they wore out the purge bulb trying to purge it because that line was pinched. That's kind of funny. Okay, so we got to reroute that, because I think that's supposed to go in that trough there. There's kind of a trough where the lines come out of the purge bulb and then back and then under the carb. So let's pull this off first and go from there. Now let's see if I can sneak this screwdriver in here. It's T27. And I think these are the screws that hold the carb on, so we might want to just pull the carb off if we can to get those limiter caps off a little easier than trying to go through the case here. So that pinched line shouldn't affect it running. It really should just affect the purge. It won't purge through, since the purge is actually after the carburetor on this. It'll suck it through the carb from the tank and then out of the carb through the purge to return to the tank. So I probably never got a good purge out of this thing. Yep, here's a better look at that for you. How it was pinched there. I think it's supposed to be routed down and around kind of that trough there I was talking about earlier. Okay, trying to figure out how this linkage has come off. Give me a little better access here. Okay. Choke is off. See if we can pop that purge out. See if I can get you a better view. There we go. So there's clips on the inside that you kind of need to squeeze together to pop the purge out. That came out real easy. Well, it's already broken. It's missing one of the tabs. Maybe they already tried. Let's pull these lines off. Hopefully they don't break. Okay, that was one. And this is the top one. Okay. Okay, let me see if I have another one of these. We'll throw that on there. Okay, yep, sure do. So the pull on this is always the short one, and then the push is the long barb. So we want the long barb to be the line that went into the tank, which is this smaller one on the bottom here, and the one coming out of the carb goes to the short one. Simple as that. Hopefully we can get this other one terminated. That's the other clip. Kind of got it started from the inside. Slide it on. All right, I think we got it. Where the locator is here. Okay, we're in. Seems to be working. Okay, limiter cap time. Since we got a little bit better access instead of trying to go through the case, like I said. And what we're going to do is we're going to run a sheet metal screw in there and pop them out. So you can see that there's kind of these two recesses on either side of the screw. Those correspond with those two tabs, if you can see, on this limiter cap. This one came out of the CS-440 I did a while ago. Same situation. So the red part of the screw needs to be rotated to a point where you can pull it straight out, that those two heads line up. And this is probably going to mess up the adjustment of the carburetor, but we'll be able to readjust it better if these aren't here. So we'll start with the high here, and we'll rotate it so we can see one of those right there. And we're going to run the screw in and then pop it out. The hard part is, as you're screwing this in, the screw wants to rotate as well, so sometimes it's a little difficult. But just turn it back and try again. Might want to try to get a smaller one, smaller screw I mean. me try to get a smaller screw. This one's slightly smaller. Back to the original screw. There we go. Come on. There it is. And underneath, we should just have a flat head, hopefully. Yes. So let me repeat that for this one. Second one. All right, so now we've got two flatheads, and we can do whatever we want for tuning now. So let's get this back on with the filter. The linkage came off. Pop that back in. All I did there was pop the linkage out. There's like a groove right here. So that's back on. Where's my choke lever? Okay. So we want this guy to kind of go this way. And down through that trough. Just like that. So it's not getting pinched by that air filter anymore. Choke works. Making sure that the throttle linkage is in there straight. I wonder if this is the right thing for this, because it's kind of cut out right there where the linkage should go. Unless the linkage is supposed to go up in this slot, that's probably what it is. I didn't see it. All right, so without looking this up, I think this linkage is supposed to go through this slot here instead of underneath. See if I can get that in there. Let's do it this way, just like that. Then pop this in. Then the screws. That It might have been like that when I took it apart and I just didn't pay attention. Okay, let's check it now. All right, so the fuel line's actually restricting the throttle a little bit. Let's see if I can't pull some of that up through. It'll be like famous last words here because I'll probably break it. Too much came through. Okay, so I got some there. Fixed the throttle problem, but it's too much now. So let's pull, we're gonna have to open the tank, pull some back through. Need the angled ones. I wonder if that's supposed to go underneath the linkage, the line on the carburetor side. Okay, well, we're back where we started. I'm going to try to route that. I'm going to try to pull the linkage off again and route the line underneath it so it's not interfering full throttle. Maybe that's how it's supposed to be. I haven't worked on one of these before. Okay. Lines are routed, and that's no better. Okay, so after that last clip, I kind of put it back the way I originally had it, which was the fuel line over top the linkage. I think that's correct. Just to kind of take a look at it and see what's going on. We still have our restriction. If I push it all the way, that's full throttle. The fuel line's stopping it. And long story short, I think this is too short. I think from the looks of that end termination, someone either broke the end of the line off or cut it too short and then re-terminated it. I think the routing's supposed to be kind of straight out and then down to kind of clear this linkage here. So I might not have said it before, but when I tried to originally pull it out to get some extra length here, it was too loose around the grommet, so I didn't want to create a fuel leak. I'll have to throw a photo up, but there's a shoulder on the line that I guess when you're installing it, it's a hard stop, so that there's a fixed length in the tank and a fixed length out of the tank that's supposed to be able to clear that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run a new line. I'm going to pull that out of there, kind of use it as a template for length with a little extra on the top here and just put a new line in there. I think I could probably get away with splicing it just in the top because the fuel line is still good, but I think it'll just be better if I have a full new line in there. So I think that's what we're going to do. So I was taking a picture of that kind of shoulder I was talking about, and I think that might actually be one of those barb splices anyway, so we might be able to get away with just a topside line here, but we'll see once we get into it. Let's get this line off first. There we go. Pull that off again. Flop this to the side. Let's see see what we got here. I think it's a barb right here. Might be wrong. Yep, I was right. I lost the line on the inside, so we're gonna have to do it anyway, unless I can fish that out of there. So it looks like the line inside the tank on the filter was connected with this, and the way it bulges out maybe sealed it in the grommet there. Let's get this apart first, because we'll just follow the same. Okay, grommet's out. Okay, let's see if I can pull that line through without too much trouble. I think we got it. Yep. So I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's kind of loose. That's what I was worried about to begin with, but the line's still good. So we're going to put this barb back on like it was and put our splice line in. That's a little too long, but we need extra length. Okay. All right. Just grabbing the line there and pulling it back through. Got it. All right, we're just going to pull it so that that barb's in the grommet like it was before. And we need to push it the rest of the way. There. All right. Easier than I expected. Choke. I think I'm going to get this together and then figure out a cut length here so it's out of the way. That might be the exact length that we need. Okay, back together here. Yeah, so that's full throttle. So we need to have the line kind of route up forward and then on the barb. Let's see what we can do here. My hand's probably in the way. I'll show you afterwards. Kinked it. I think we got some room to cut some off. Okay. All right, I think we're good. So we got enough that it's kind of out of the way along the kind of plastic wall there, and we've got full throttle. Okay. Problem solved there. Is that it? Doesn't seem very secure. Unless this holds it on. Maybe this holds it on against there. Kind of think this is one of those kind of cheap Amazon filters. But that's done. Choke works. Trigger works. Let's check the spark plug while we're in here. That was kind of loose. It's about what I would expect. Gap looks good. Okay, I think we're ready for this. It slides back on. Clips on. Okay, what else? I guess we should take a look at the bar groove. I do think it's new, but clean it out anyway just to be sure. Can we take a look at the clutch and sprocket too while we're at it in here? Okay, that's fairly clean. I don't think this thing has ever been run. Chain's still sharp. There's no burr at all. Paint's not even worn off. Let's just see anyway. Yeah, there's nothing in there. Maybe a little bit at the end. Probably from us starting it. I think that's good. Let's see what we got in here. I think this is our oiler passage. Sprocket seems okay. It does have some wear in it. I think there's an acceptable depth of those grooves that you're allowed to go to before replacing this, and I don't know, we're like at a 1/16, so I think we're okay. But you guys that do a lot of chainsaws, let me know. Let's actually grease this tip first before moving forward. It's got a needle attachment here. Let's roll that around. Yeah. Okay, good there. Let's get this chain. And that's like brand new. Side cover. Yeah, there we go. Got dirt everywhere. Okay. Only thing left is to throw some fuel in here. Let's get the gas cap back on. Before we head outside, let's see if we can use a Scotch-Brite and some water to get some of this stuff off, just as a test. Hopefully you guys can see all that speckle right there. I'm going to go right here. It's just some water. Yeah. Didn't really take it off, so I think we're kind of stuck with this cosmetically. So all we need to do yet is run outside. I think I'm gonna reset the screw adjustments to 1.5 out for each one, because we had to mess with that to get the limiter caps off. So we'll start off with a good baseline. 1/2, 1/2, that's the high. 1/2, 1/2. should be a good starting point there. Let's head outside. Okay. So I think this takes 50 to 1, but all I got is 40 to 1. All my machines are that, so should be fine for this test. Overfilled it. Whoops. Smaller tank than I expected. So let's see if the primer works. Come on. Did I pinch the line myself? No. What's going on? Okay, well, we got something going on. That's probably why they busted the purge bulb to begin with. Okay, let's check it out. Okay, well, didn't expect that. So I think the only thing I can try, come on. The only thing I can try here is maybe the person who put this together got the lines switched around. So I think maybe the pull through the carb back into the tank, into the purge, should be up here. And maybe the line filter feed is down below there. So I'm going to try switching those around and I'll bring you back. Okay, got that pulled apart. Let's see what we got here. That's completely dry. So either we got a clogged carb or the lines are backwards. And I'm going to try the line first. I kind of think that original length would have worked if it was going to this side, because it went underneath the carb and it's a shorter run. But let's see. Okay, so we think maybe this goes up to here now. That's too small. Hold on. Change out the line because the ID is too small now for that. That should do it. I feel like I'm chasing my tail on this one. So what I'm thinking here now, to go over this again, the filter line is actually this one, maybe. We got enough length there. And then this guy maybe is the purge return. Which would have had enough length to clear the linkage to begin with. So let me get some gas in here. I emptied it before trying this, and I don't want to get fuel everywhere. And we are going to try to purge this before I put it back together like this. If not, we'll have to open the carb up. Maybe we got a blockage or something. Okay, filled this outside with fuel quick. Let's see if we get a purge. No, interesting. Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to look this up now. Maybe the routing was correct originally. Okay, I did have to look it up, and I'm gonna go over the fuel line routing. We did have it right the first time. It comes out of the grommet here. This is the filter line, goes into the carb here, comes out of the carb on the bottom, goes up to the short barb on the purge, and then out of the purge on the long barb back into the tank. So I think what I'm going to do, I left this clear line on here. I'm going to purge with that on so we can actually see if fuel's coming up. If not, maybe we got a kinked line or something, maybe in the inside of the tank, because there's kind of like a 90-degree plastic molding there on the inside that line has to make that hard turn. So maybe we got a kinked line too. But let's try this, hook back up right again with the clear line to see what's going on. Okay, well now it's working. Seemingly. And we got fuel in the barb. Okay. What a bunch of monkeying around. Okay, let me put some fuel in here. I did drain it out to switch those lines around. Let me put fuel back in here and see if we get a full purge. Okay, we got a full tank. Okay. All right. Well, I don't know what the issue was originally, but it's fixed now. Let's get this thing back together, back outside. Okay, still get full throttle with that new clear line. Choke works. And we still got purge. And I kind of think we're almost missing something here that'll hold this filter down against this bottom, this inside piece. Or, you know, maybe the case cover holds this on, I don't know. Well, let's head back outside. Okay, let's try this again. It's kind of a mystery on why the purge wasn't working. Now it's working. Maybe we had a pinch line originally. Now we don't. Still purging. And like I said, we're 1.5 turns out on both of those adjustment screws. So let's give it a shot. Yeah, we're way off on tune. Let's open up the low a little bit. See if we can get it to stay running. Quarter turn. It's hard to stay on that screw head. I cannot stay on that screw. Alright, well that's a good runner. Almost forgot to double check the oiler. See if we got any bar and chain in there. No, it's empty. Well, that makes sense. I'd overfill that too. Par for the course on this one, looks like. All right. What a mess. All right, we're cleaned off for the most part. Really batting 1,000 today with filling things. But we're gonna get this started, and we throw this piece of cardboard on the ground, see if the bar is gonna fling some oil onto this to just make sure that that's working. That's working. Tune needs to be tweaked a little bit more, as you probably heard, but I think we're at a good starting point. Okay, well that's all I got on this one. Unfortunately, I don't have anything to cut for you guys to do a demo, and we kind of got thrown for a loop with that purge. So I don't know what exactly happened there, but my theory is I think maybe the diaphragms needed to be wetted, especially the pumping side one. Maybe the flaps were stuck down against the carburetor, kind of blocking it there. And then after me kind of just fumbling around with it for so long, it kind of got enough fuel up there to loosen that up and finally purge again. But we got a good runner, I think. So hopefully what we covered helped somebody out, or you guys found this entertaining. Thanks for joining me on this one, and I'll catch you on the next one.